So I'm gonna tell you the most essential tools that you need in your garage to keep working on your cars, from changing turbos, fixing, I don't know, vans, motorbikes and everything else. And that's gonna be coming from me now. I'm not a mechanic, but I do work on my own car. I swapped 2 engines in the Yamaha. I've swapped this Gixxer's engine there. Also, I've replaced turbos, I've replaced wishbones on cars, and these are just the most essential tools that you need in your garage to work on cars. So the first thing you want to get is going to be a toolbox, and that can be anything from Amazon or Halfords or, I don't know, Lidl. For example, I have my toolbox for now 6-7 oh my God, I just said 6-7. I have my own toolbox now for maybe 6 or 7 years, and I got it from Lidl. So when I moved up to Northern Ireland, and yeah, I didn't have anyone to rely on or anyone's tools to borrow, and yeah, it came to the point where I needed to fix my car. Buying the toolbox was the first thing I did, and yes, it did come from Lidl. It's nothing special. Halfords would probably last me even longer, but I've been using it for 6 or 7 years, and I've had no issues with it. Now, there may be a couple of bits that broke or some I've lost. Believe it or not, I still have all my 10 mils in that box, and yeah, I don't know how I have not lost them yet, but yeah, that was number 1. So let's move on to number 2. So number 2 are going to be some pliers or some vice grips, and I have them up on the wall there. Get a whole set of pliers, not only these ones but also the long nose ones, something like this, and these will actually get like clips out or something like that. These pliers came in very handy a lot of times now. And then the other thing is vice grips, get a good set. Now this one isn't broken, they're by Draper, and I've used it a lot. And the reason you want to get these is because you do have an adjustment, obviously. That's what vice grips are. Probably get another one which is going to be more flat, because it can be very useful holding like sheets of metal or something like that. Get yourself a pair of pliers, vice grips, and get 2 or 3 maybe pliers, and they will come in handy for you. Now, another thing that you will need is going to be a blowtorch, and get some spare gas while you're at it. They're only like €15 for the bottle. This one has lasted me, I don't know, maybe 2-3 months now, not on continuous use, but I've used it a lot for the manifold bolts on the Gixxer there. I cannot go without this. This is definitely worth buying. The head will cost about maybe €50. I got it in the market for about €30 for the head, and then the bottle was like, what, 15? And then I just bought a second bottle recently while I was doing this Gixxer's engine. Now, I've never looked back after buying a blowtorch. These are just handy, and this is still the first bottle that I got. These are like one of the must-haves in your garage. Now, while I'm talking about doing stuff to the Gixxer, whenever I was removing the manifold, I had a horrible time, even with the blowtorch. The heat actually helped it, but what happened was the screws got rounded, and I will show you. While I was working on the Gixxer and trying to remove the exhaust, taking off the manifold studs, that's how the screws look like. If you can see inside there, it's a circle. What could get it off? That's how they're supposed to look like. They're supposed to be hex bits. And what happens is, from heat cycles and sometimes the bolts round, this is how it ends up looking like. And yeah, good luck trying to take that off. I've tried everything to get these out, and for the most part it worked. And after trying to hammer a load of sockets in and everything, I got 1 removed successfully. So yeah, then I was down to 2, and so I went to get extra bolts just so I can put it back together. And as I went to the shop, and I remembered, wait a minute,
who are you?
I have a fucking bolt extractor tool. Now, this is honestly the best thing to actually have in your garage. These have saved me now maybe 3 times, and not only for the bike, I've removed a lug nut that was actually stuck on the car. I couldn't get it off. It was just a normal 17 socket. Now it was starting to round on the car, and I needed it off so I could actually change the wheel. And what if I needed to change the tire on the wheel? I would have been screwed, no pun intended. Anyway, Now these sockets, like this is what I used to hammer on, and then I think this is the one I use possibly to take off the 17 mil. And what's handy with these is not that it only grips on, but you have a choice. One of these can actually sit in to here, and you can connect it to a drill if you really want to. But this will be most likely if you have a powerful enough drill to actually twist this. If you use a different socket to put it on the breaker bar, you will snap this in half, so that is no good. But if you actually look, there's a bigger head on the outside. You don't actually need to use the inside at all. So what you do, for example, this is a 27 mil socket, you put it on, that is going to remove your bolt. But make sure whenever you're actually putting this on, you hammer it on so it actually gets into the teeth, and it will actually twist out for you without any issues. Now, and the best thing is with that hole in the center, you can actually hammer anything you want out. You can actually do by just flipping this around like this and just keep hammering it out, and boom. Now that has saved me. That is honestly, I got this from Temu and I was actually not expecting this to do any good. Oh, but I was very wrong. This is actually a must-have. If you're living without this in 2026, yeah, I don't know what to say. Now, the next thing is gonna be a low profile jack, and low profile specifically for lowered cars. If you wanna actually get underneath a super sport bike, it helped me out a lot. Now, I've had my jack for maybe 2 years now, and I've never looked back since. I can lift up the car pretty high. If any friends come over with a lowered car, I've no issues lifting it up. So it was 150 for me in the market, and I've never looked back since. If you're gonna buy them online or anything branded, they will set you back even more. I believe 200 quid and above. It is essential to have, especially when lifting up a car, change the wheels. And I used to have a small little jack from Aldi or something, and that broke within months. They're just cheaply built. You want something with 2 pistons at least to lift it up as fast as possible, and I don't see it breaking anytime soon. Now the next thing is going to be an impact gun. This is just from Lidl as well. I've had this for maybe possibly, so 3 or 4 years ago, my partner bought me this impact gun, and holy shit, it saves so much time. Now, this is not one of the strongest, it's not a Milwaukee or anything, it's just a Parkside from Lidl. If you've done springs or worked with coilovers, you know that if you start ratcheting with a normal ratchet, up top is gonna start spinning the middle, and then you will need a pair of vice grips, like I said, to hold it in place so you can actually get it loosened. With an impact gun, it actually saves you all the hassle because it has enough momentum to actually get it spinning and out in no time. Now, a breaker bar is gonna set you back maybe about 50 quid, a good one. Don't cheap out on them because I've seen heads snap, and then yeah, well, the heads are replaceable if you need to. They're about 15 or 20 euro on Motor Factors. Invest in a good one once and you'll never have to look back. As the last one was the impact gun, I thought this would be fitting to actually put this in now. So double check, tighten your wheels with this afterwards, just before you leave. You don't want the wheel coming off. The next one is gonna be, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a screwdriver bit set. These, you can see, I also got them from Temu, and they're actually doing pretty great, surprisingly. Yeah, these will come with bigger hexes because most likely your toolbox won't have them. Now, the most important thing on this set is probably the 12-bit sockets. Now, these will be useful for you to take out your seats if you want to do some valeting or something under your seats and you actually want to remove the seats. This is the one that you most likely will need for Volkswagens and BMWs. I've taken the seats out. So this set here is a must-have as well in your garage. Even if you don't need this now, you will come to need it, I guarantee it. So if you're going to be doing anything related to injectors or something that needs specific torque settings, you will need to get yourself one of these. This is a torque wrench, and actually you might not need one of these, you might need 3. There are 3 different sizes. I have the smallest one because I came to need when I was doing injectors, and I needed to tighten something to 7 newton meters of torque and also 180 degrees afterwards. So this is going to save you if you want to be prepared, if you're going to do things right and not just like eyeball it, or you won't know what 7 newton meters of torque feels like. So with something like this, you will be sure that it's tightened correctly. So yeah, this is just a 1/4 inch, and yeah, it does the job. It's 5 to 25 newton meters. I have no complaints about this. Just make sure when you're storing it, unloosen it. That's what the instructions said on this. I think it's just so it doesn't make any pressure inside, so it doesn't mess up any calibrations or something. So make sure you have it fully loosened when you're storing it. Now, another thing is going to be a good spanner set. So these will come in handy when you're trying to get into somewhere and you need to actually crank it open. You won't necessarily be able to put a whole socket on and put an extension on or something like that. So these spanners will come in very handy, especially when you need to hold the nut on the other end and then you can go with the socket from the other side. Most likely this will lock up onto something whenever you're trying to unscrew it, and it's handy just to leave it there. Then also make sure you have a ratcheting one. I have a 10mm for ratcheting, and it's also bendable as well. I thought I'm ordering the whole set from Temu, but I only got one. But yeah, this actually makes it so much faster. You can just, if you're in a tight space, you can just, keep twisting it like this and it helps out. And then I've also an 8 and a 10mm on the other side on another one. So yeah, ratchets, definitely invest. Now, it wouldn't be a garage if you don't have a heat gun. This one I've had for a couple of years, if not more. It's a Black Decker one and it's been doing fine. There's a bit of damage up at the front. You can tell it has some wear and tear. Now, what you may use this for is really up to you. It can be useful to heat shrink something, or let's say if you're trying to take adhesive off or before you stick something on, or you can heat stuff up to get a better adherence, or when you're taking things off. It's a definitely must have as well. Now, this is another thing that I wouldn't skip on having in the garage. The final thing is going to be a compressor, and I currently have one in the car. This one here is actually not mine here, if you can see it. It is a neighbor of mine's. He just has it in my garage. I borrowed it and then I never gave it back. Well, I don't know, he said just leave it in the garage. So it's not mine, but I have a compressor in the car. Also, if you do need to pump up the tire when you're in the middle of nowhere, another bonus one that I'm gonna put in there with the compressor is gonna be a tire repair kit. I have 3 strips left. As you can see, it has been used, but I can think of many cases where you're gonna be stuck at the side of the road. If you have a compressor and a tire repair kit, it can actually save you a load of money. Rather than getting a recovery, I say it'll be cheaper if you get a tire repair kit and you don't need to even worry about it.